In this video, I want to teach you how to do a wheelie on a dirt bike. What's up, Rad family? I'm Dakota Freeman, and welcome to the Rad Adventure Dude channel. Learning how to do a wheelie on a dirt bike is also going to really improve your riding style, as you're going to be able to ride your dirt bike around the tracks and trails much smoother. Let's go ahead and jump into it. When we're first wanting to learn how to do a wheelie on a dirt bike, how do we do it? Well, we're going to have to use the power of the motor to actually get the wheel off the ground. We want to make sure that we're in a good gear range to where we have good acceleration out of the rear wheel. We want to have the RPM level in the gear to where we have plenty of acceleration when we need it. We're also going to have to use our upper body to lift up on the handlebars as we get on the throttle. This is going to really help our front end come off the ground, where we can then use our throttle to get the front wheel higher and balance on the rear wheel. As you're learning how to do a wheelie on your dirt bike, you're going to want to learn how to be able to use your throttle to get the RPM level higher. Once you get the RPM level right where you need it, this is when you're going to just kind of use your arms and your upper body to accelerate and pick up on the front wheel. Be careful when learning this, because you can very easily loop the dirt bike out and go off the back of the dirt bike. The next part of learning how to do a wheelie on a dirt bike is going to be how to actually balance it on the rear wheel. It's going to be up to you if you like to sit down and do wheelies or if you like to stand up. I've found for myself it's easier for me to stand up as I do it, as I can get my weight further on the back of the bike. I can then just stand in the attack position as I'm lifting the front wheel off the ground, and this is going to really help me balance once I get up on the rear wheel. If you ever feel like you're going to go over the back end of the dirt bike, there's a couple of ways that you can save this. First is, if you ever feel like your front end gets too high, you really want to make sure that you let off the throttle and pull in the clutch. Just by letting off the throttle and pulling in the clutch, this could easily get your front end to drop to the ground to where you don't go over the back end. Sometimes this isn't going to be enough to stop the momentum going over backwards, and at this point, if we can, we're really going to want to make sure to let the throttle off, pull the clutch in, and tap the rear brake. If you can tap the rear brake while you're doing a wheelie, you will never go over the back end, as this is really going to bring you down to the ground the fastest way possible. And work on this over time, as it's not something you're going to learn in a day, and honestly you're not going to learn the first year. But as you practice this over and over, eventually it's going to make more sense, and you're going to get better every single time you go do a wheelie. Other ways that we can get the front end off the ground if you're struggling is going to be to use the clutch. What you'll want to do is get rolling on your dirt bike, and then use the throttle to actually pick the RPM level up. Pull in the clutch to that friction zone where you have a point of motion when you're letting the clutch out for the first time. Use the throttle a little bit and then pop the clutch out. When you pop the clutch out, it's really going to drive a lot of acceleration to your back wheel and instantly want to pick up your front tire. Be careful when learning this, as it's going to be aggressive and it could put you on the ground. However, if you're struggling to get your front wheel up, this is a great way to get your front end off the ground when doing a wheelie. So when we're learning how to ride a wheelie like this, how do we ride a wheelie for a longer period of time? Well, you're actually going to want to learn how to get in the higher gears of your dirt bike and be able to do a wheelie as well. Just like when we're learning and the lower gears have more acceleration but less top speed, they also have a less amount of time that you can ride in this gear and get the front wheel off the ground. As the acceleration gets really high and then plateaus out, as soon as the power plateaus out, you're going to run out of power, and the front wheel is going to want to drop back to the ground. This is why being in a higher gear is actually going to give you more power to ride your wheelie for a longer period of time. So when learning how to do this, you're going to want to learn in a lower gear so you have more acceleration and can easily pop the wheel up off the ground. However, once we want to start learning how to ride wheelies for longer distances, you're going to want to learn how to ride a wheelie in a higher gear so you have a longer gear range to go through before you run out of power. It's going to be very difficult to shift gears while we're doing a wheelie, and we want to start in the gear that we're going to ride all the way through the wheelie in. This is why when you're starting and you want to learn how to do this, you're going to be in a lower gear, and once you're ready to ride your wheelie for a longer period of time, you're going to want to get into a higher gear to actually start your wheelie. Don't forget about being able to use your rear brake to bring the front end to the ground, and being able to let off the throttle and pull your clutch in, as this is really going to help you if you start going over the back end of the dirt bike. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, make sure you hit that and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. So make sure you practice this over time and really learn how to ride a dirt bike. When you're ready to take your riding to the next level, riding wheelies out on the tracks and trails is really going to be how we learn how to ride the smoothest way possible. As we master our wheeling and can wheelie through obstacles like whoop sections, rough breaky bumps, and anything like this out on the tracks and trails is really going to take us to the next level. So make sure you continue practicing this and don't get frustrated. It's not something you're going to learn day one on a dirt bike. However, as you instill this into your riding and can naturally wheelie over obstacles out on the tracks and trails, is going to make you the best rider possible. When we want to ride a wheelie for the longest time possible, it's good that we learn how to lock our body weight into a certain spot. I like to stand in the attack position as I am pulling the front end up on the dirt bike. And as the bike comes back, my body's naturally going to get set over the rear tire, giving me plenty of traction and also helping me lock in my wheelie. What I mean by this is that I'm going to be at a good balance point on my bike, and I'm not going to have to fight with the dirt bike to actually keep the wheel off the ground. I'm kind of like on a skateboard riding a manual, how you just have your body weight in the correct place, and that's going to help you continue riding your wheelie. Well, the same applies for this. As I'm in the attack position and I go to pull the front wheel up, my body weight is going to naturally get shifted back over the rear tire, giving me a perfect balance point on the dirt bike. This is really what's going to help you ride a wheelie for the longest time possible, and you're going to get much more comfortable with this over time. So did this video help you learn how to ride a wheelie on your dirt bike? Well, make sure you like this video and drop some comments down below and ask me any other questions that you have. If you're still looking for more dirt bike riding tips, I'm always here. I've made a full dirt bike riding course over on my website that's going to walk you through being a complete beginner and take you to an advanced rider mastering the tracks and trails. I also give away a free dirt bike guide over on my website. Just sign up to my newsletter and I'll send it right to you. Make sure you hit the subscribe button that's right here and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future dirt bike riding tips. After that, you can watch my next video right here. Stay rad, and I'll see you over there.